Welcome, writers, readers, and friends to the Authors Talking Bookish podcast. I'm Donna Norman Carbone, author of All That Is Sacred.
And I'm Hope Gibbs, author of Where the Grass Grows Blue.
We're two debut writers traditionally published by a small publishing house, bringing to you all the experiences that we as authors learn the hard way, so you don't have to.
We'll give you insights from the inception of a book idea to publication and beyond. And along the way, we'll share our love of books from the writer's perspective.
Welcome back, friends. This is episode 55 of Authors Talking Bookish. And today we are interviewing a friend of ours, Gail Priest, who is the award-winning author of Soul Dancing, a book that we both read and loved. I am Donna Carbone, and I am joined by Hope Gibbs. Hi, Hope. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you, Donna?
I am doing well, getting into the fall vibe.
Love it. I love it. This is birthday season at our house. We have 5 birthdays in 5 weeks.
Oh, my goodness. You're busy.
So there was always cake at the house, but I'm so excited about interviewing Gail because you and I were lucky enough to read this book last year when it was debuting, and it was the most interesting opening because it's hard to find something that's genuinely unique that took my breath away. And I called you and I was like, I read this book in a day. So I am so excited to have her here. Why don't we bring her on? Yeah. Hello, Gail. How are you?
Hi, I'm well. How are you both?
Hi, it's great to have you here. We're doing great. Excited to talk to you.
Me too.
So, Gail, when you and I spoke last year, I told you that I thought this was one of the most unique openings of a book that I had read in years. And I can't wait to get into it because for those who've not had the pleasure to read this book. But before we do that, we'd love to give just a little background for our audience about you. Gail has a passion for women's fiction. She has degrees and works in theater and counseling psychology, which inspire her stories of healing from trauma and secrets within families. A dash of romance and her love of second chances are always in the mix. She lives in New Jersey with her husband and her dog, Annie. When she is not writing, she can be found reading or looking for birds and sea glass along the beaches and bays of the East Coast. She is a member of the WFWA and the South Jersey Writers Group, where she was named Writer of the Year. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Thanks a lot.
Can you tell us a little bit about your book, Soul Dancing?
Sure. The main character is Charlene. She's 90 years old, and she is in the process of dying, but she resists the light because she wants to be able to take care of her husband, Stan, who's 93. And because she doesn't actually die, she ends up coming back in the body of a 20-year-old woman who's giving birth. So Charlene gets a second chance at motherhood, which is very important to her. And she can take care of Stan, which makes her very happy because she was too unwell. He's going into hospice. You know, they're both at the end of life stages. But then the baby that she ends up having, the uncle of that baby wants to adopt his brother's child because his brother abandoned his girlfriend, Rain, when she was pregnant. And Cameron has agreed to take the baby. He really loves children. He wants to have a family, and that hasn't really happened for him yet. And all of a sudden, Rain's personality changes once she gives birth, and he can't figure out what's going on because now she's cultured, she's kind, she's educated, she loves the baby. And poor Rain didn't have any of those life skills. She had a really rough early life. So it ends up being kind of a romantic triangle between Charlene and this young man, Cameron, and her husband, Stan.
Yeah. And I love a second chance at love, but you took it a whole other direction. And that's what I loved so much about this book. It was such a unique idea. Where on earth did you come up with this idea of a 90-year-old woman in the body of a 20-year-old woman in the middle of giving birth?
I am telling you, people ask me that question all the time. And it was a gift. It was just a gift. Like any of our story ideas, a lot of times they aren't based on anything. They just come to us as writers. So I always say it was a gift from the universe. I simply thought, well, wouldn't this be an interesting situation? And originally I thought it was going to be about soulmates. Who was her true soulmate, Stan or Cameron? And the book was going to be called that. But as I got into the writing, the characters revealed to me that you don't have one soulmate, that you can love more than one person.
Yeah.
And so that title went out the window. And my husband would ask, what's it called this week? Because every week it changed. But eventually I came up with Soul Dancing, and I thought that really was appropriate.
It's a beautiful title.
Oh, thanks.
I'm wondering, like, there is a reincarnation aspect of this, and I'm wondering to what degree does that like align with what you believe? Is it something that you researched? Where does that come from?
Well, it's interesting because she doesn't come back at the beginning of a life cycle.
Right.
So technically, I don't know if it's really reincarnation as much as it's taking over someone else's body.
Yeah.
But that's a very interesting question, Donna. I don't know whether it aligns or doesn't align with my beliefs because I'm not sure, what do we know? We hope for certain things. We've been taught certain things. We have faith in possibilities. But until it happens, we don't really know. So I did research into near-death experiences because I wanted Charlene to be at that sort of in-between stage. She's not quite gone, but she's not in her body anymore because her body is old and has, given up. So where is she going to go? So that's when I had her get a chance to talk to her little boy from her original marriage and relationship in life that she lost when he was very young. So it becomes more poignant when she gets a second chance at motherhood. And Rain has backstory that ends up coming in later that we can kind of understand why she gave up when she had a chance to kind of escape what she was having to face. She really didn't have the skills or the interest, in dealing with this and being a mother. Wasn't a planned pregnancy. So she gets a chance to go, but then, we don't know if she's coming back or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was really interesting when Charlene was figuring out that this is her body now and how different her body as a 90-year-old woman that, I know how I am as a 50-year-old woman. I don't even remember what it was like to be a 20-year-old, but you described it so perfectly. And she might have like some tattoos or some piercings. And this is so not this character, but it was really interesting how she started kind of leaning into this new fit, like 20-year-old body.
I know. I mean, I would never want to go back, but if I had a younger body and knew what I know, that might be a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Yes, she has to sort of relearn things. Not only is a younger body, it's a very different body than what she had when she was young. She was very petite, and this woman is taller. She's got larger hands, and because Charlene was a musician and a pianist, she can really handle things musically differently because of her new body. So, and then I like the comic relief. I always have comic relief in there from being a theater person, that she sort of gets into the belly piercing,
Yeah. Well, not only did Donna and I adore this book, I pulled these off of your Amazon site. Beautifully written, very creative, engaging, and you got a fantastic review from Kirkus, a captivating look at motherhood and romance with a unique twist. I mean, I think that sums it up as well as anything else that I have seen or even I tried to describe. What was it like when you got that Kirkus review?
Oh, it was very exciting. I get excited about anybody who reviews my book, but I don't spend time reading them so much. But when people give me positive feedback, or I as the two of you have won many awards for your books, I really took a lesson from the two of you because you're ahead of me on that on that trajectory. And I thought I'm gonna apply for some awards, and I got some, and it
You
felt
got a
really
huge
good.
one.
You got a
Tell,
lot.
tell everybody about the really big one that you
Yeah,
got.
that was a total shocker. Total shocker. American Writing
Share
Awards.
with us. Yeah.
Yeah, named it Fiction Book of the Year for 2025. 2024. I don't even know what year I'm in.
I know.
We'll start it today, so you know. I was away with a girlfriend that weekend, and I checked my phone. You know, I knew that the announcements were coming that day, and I thought I had a chance in the women's fiction category.
Yeah.
And it's like, what?
You throw your book at the top.
I'm telling you, I could have been knocked over by a feather. It was lovely.
Yeah. I'm
And
so proud of you.
Well deserved.
Yeah. Very honestly, Gail, I read like 30 books last year, and still yours stands out to me as one that is very memorable. It's one of those books that if our listeners haven't read it, you must. It really will stay with you because it's that different, but also in being different, very connectable, like themes that are really relatable.
100%. And I also want to talk, because this is another wonderful review. I love this romance. There's this romantic, interesting take on If I Had Another Chance at Life. A very creative and smart writer, I believe that. And the characters brought realism and intrigue with their dialogue. But I wanted you to also look at this cover, because I think it's a stunning cover. And we're all at the same publishing company. We're all at Red Adept. Talk to us about how much input you had on this cover and the symbolism of the cover. I mean, obviously we've read the book. I get it. But talk a little bit about the cover.
I got a lot of input, which I really appreciated. And I tend to kind of go with the flow with people. If people thinks this is a good idea, I'll go with it. And then our publisher would be like, no, it's not good enough. So I appreciated that, because what we ended up with was so exquisite.
Yeah.
So I didn't want a face. They sent me, well, you got it too. They sent me a form where I'd say things that would work, what wouldn't work. What are you looking for? What kind of mood? What do you not want? And I wasn't, for this situation especially, too crazy about actual faces, because I like my readers to picture who they want to picture. Right. And I give character description, but not to the point where, well, here's the person, because it can really ruin things, I think.
Yeah.
So I liked an idea of an image of a woman on the beach, but I didn't want to see her face so much. And then we were really dealing with how to create it to feel spiritual, or that there were souls moving or something. How the woman was dressed was really particular for our publisher, because one outfit looked too much like an evening gown, and she's like, she's not going to be on the beach in an evening gown. You can just hear Lynn, can't you?
Yeah.
So I so appreciated how much she and the whole group worked on making this a fantastic cover.
Yeah, it really is.
I love it.
I want to get into some of your other books, because I had the opportunity to read the Collingswood Christmas book, which I absolutely loved. It's just a great romance. Do all of your books have thread of romance in them, Gail?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I really like, I feel like a good book has some romance. I don't feel like I'm a romance writer, although Collingswood Christmas is the closest to, pure romance. Yeah. But I still have the characters really handling some serious issues and painful things to work through. And, they have a journey. Both of them really have a journey. So it's kind of women's fiction too. But I really like romance. I love triangles. Even my Annie Crow Knoll trilogy has romance, especially in the first book and the third book. The second book, it's more about healing a romance that is kind of gone by the wayside. And it's a lot more about friendship between two women.
Yeah. Is it harder to write a series or a standalone, do you think?
Well, my series happened by accident. I didn't plan to write one, and I don't know if I'll ever write another series, but I wrote a very, very long first book, and I hired an editor, and she said, this is way too long for a first book. We have to cut. And I was mulling it over, and I thought, well, wait a minute. Annie Crow is the main character through all three books, but the first book is really about her life, young life. And then later in that book, it was about her son. And I thought, well, what if I separate them? If I have a book that ends at one point and then I have the second book, so I don't lose as much. And she really liked that idea. So I went with it, and I figured out what to keep, what to save for later. And it was kind of a fun experience. And then, of course, there were things I had to write. I hadn't written because the second section wasn't really long enough. So I had to figure all that out. And then the third book is 20 years later. I mean, it's like, what?
Wow.
But it works. It works. Yeah, Moonrise. I really love Moonrise. You know, you have certain favorites.
Yeah.
But it's about her granddaughters and their healing process after being injured in a bombing. And it's kind of serious in the beginning, but what they do is they come back to the place they grew up, which is Annie Crow Knoll, they're the cottages that Annie inherited from her parents and saved and has lived there her whole life. So they get an opportunity to heal again, because I feel very strongly in the power of healing through friendship and nature and art. So those things are very prevalent in all three books, but especially in the last one. And Annie ends up kind of she's got a serious relationship, but her ex-husband shows back up, and she's not tempted, but he keeps trying to work at her. So there's that kind of triangle going. And then the two young women, they have men that love them, but they aren't ready to love themselves again. They have to work through that to be able to have a relationship. So it gets romantic in that aspect. And I love Easton, who won't give up on Breezy, even though her legs are very damaged and she's not, feeling as beautiful as she was. I mean, she was just perfectly exquisite, and she has to accept her body now as it is, and he won't give up on her. I just love him.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to check out that entire series. I'm going to switch gears a little bit and want to talk to you about being a writer. So when Donna and I started this podcast, we kept always saying, when we were going through the Red Adept experience of getting our book out there, this is coming your way, or this is coming your way. And it was we started joking, all the things that we've learned the hard way, so you don't have to. That's literally our tagline here at Bookish, at Authors Talking Bookish. What are some things that you've learned the hard way? It could be a good thing or a bad thing, that you would like to tell our audience, that people, who are thinking about writing, someone who is in the middle of their manuscript, or just a reader who's very curious about the process.
Well, there are a couple things that come to my mind. One thing I've learned is to trust yourself and not second guess, not worry about what's popular, what's marketable. Oh, well, that's not selling anymore. No, don't listen to that. Listen to your inner voice and follow your gut, follow your heart. And I'm telling you, soul dancing is the perfect example, because it's like, well, what genre is this? I don't know. I just wrote it. It came to me. I believed in it, and I kept listening to my characters, and I kept writing. But then when I had to market, it was like, they all want to know, what section on the shelf in the bookstore will you find this book? And I'm like, paranormal, romance, women's fiction. It's cross genre. And that's, I had to settle. I had to come to that realization, and that it's okay. It's really cool. And I have people that tell me they love to read cross genre. I thought I had to fit a little pigeonhole, but you don't. Just trust yourself and go for it. And as far as publishing is concerned, some of my books are published with publishers and some are self-published. And I think that there's nothing wrong with either. Self-publishing moves faster. You can get things done faster. Publishing with a publisher, a small press, takes forever. And it's tough, and it's kind of well, I found it frustrating. Other people may not, but I was like, oh, get this book out into the world.
Yeah.
But in the long run, it turned out to be lovely and successful, and I'm happy about that. But I did find that a little difficult for me. Patience is not my middle name.
Nor is it mine. I can relate.
So what are you working on currently right now?
So I'm working on revising or translating. I don't know what verb I need there, but anyway, I'm taking a play and also a screenplay. This storyline has had three. Now we'll have three different genres. I wrote this play and a screenplay version 25 years ago. It's called A Thing with Feathers, and it takes place in Cape May Point, New Jersey, which is one of my favorite places. And my husband had said to me, because I was struggling with another novel that's on the back burner now, because I just can't, it's not coming. And he said, well, why don't you look at A Thing with Feathers? It would be it's a great story, and it would be a great novel. So that's what I'm doing. I'm taking it. And, I thought because I've already written this story, it would be easier.
Yeah.
It's not easier at all. Yeah, that's the other thing writers need to know. From my point of view, writing a play or writing a screenplay is so much easier because the actors and the cameras do it.
Yeah.
Right.
They make it happen. And you don't have to fill in all these details.
Yeah.
So if someone walks into an eerie room and they're not sure what's going on, the actor portrays that. The lighting, the props, even the sound, there might be music over that. That tells the audience everything. Well, that's easy. I just type down, Mary enters a dark, creepy room. That's it. They all take care of it. But when you're writing a novel, you have to describe all that. You have to get her feelings, her fears, her concerns, sounds that she's hearing. What is she seeing? Oh my gosh. So another learning lesson for me. I never stop learning.
I'm fascinated that you write plays and you have screenplay abilities. But I've never thought of a play or a screenplay like that, even though I did a little theater in college. You're right. The actor does those things for you.
They do. They do the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think the person who writes the story does the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
What does a day in the life of you as a writer look like?
Well, I'm not terribly disciplined. I'm going to be very honest. I love to procrastinate. The Annie Kroll trilogy came along because we were renting a cottage. We did this for 17 years on the Chesapeake Bay. And the first novel started coming to me, and I had written plays and screenplays till then. And I'm like, I don't know, how am I going to write a novel? But that was how it was coming to me. So I went with that. And I was very disciplined because it was summer. I wasn't teaching. I was down there all the time. I'd get up in the morning, maybe do a little yoga, or maybe even take a swim. We were right on the water. I mean, it was so gorgeous. And all of that's in the trilogy. And I'd write all day. And then around 3:00, I'd go out on the dock, and all the other people, the cottages, cottagers, there were like 13 or 14 cottages. They'd been on the beach and the dock all day. And they'd be like, well, it must be almost sunset. Gail's finally coming out. They had no idea what I was doing all day. No one ever asked me.
Yeah.
So then when I finally said I've written a book and it takes place here, they were like, oh my gosh. So that was easier to do as far as being disciplined, because I had a lot of time to myself.
Right.
And I wasn't dealing with, bills and a house and, all the everyday stuff. Now I find that I let other things get in the way. And I have to really say, no, sit down. The other stuff's going to wait. Do it later. Don't do it first. Do the writing first.
Yeah.
Right.
Gail, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you with us. We could sit here and talk to you all day, but we do try to keep our episodes around 25 minutes. But I know that our audience, they're going to want to keep up with you. Where is the best place to find you on social media, your website?
Yes. Well, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and I have a website. So my website's right there, gailpriest.com. It's so easy to remember. And that's how you can track me down.
Well, I am so excited for your next book, which was a play. And so, again, thank you so much for spending time with us. And Donna, could you give us a little hint into our next episode?
Yes, our next episode, ironically, is going to talk about from page to screen what makes a story adaptable. So this is a nice segue. Thank you so much for being here, Gail. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Well, I love this podcast, and I
Thank you.
admire the two of you so much. So thank you for having me on.
Thanks.
Oh, thank you, Gail. And we admire you and we loved your book. And again, those of you who have not read this book, don't walk, run, get this book. So, everyone, thank you so much. And until next time.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us today. I'm Hope Gibbs.
And I'm Donna Norman Carbone. It's time for you to get to work.
We look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks with another tip from your author friends.